Given that I have a job in customer service, I like to share stories of good and bad service. Today, I can say that I went to Starbucks and I have an example of customer service that went well, even more than I expected. I habitually order ahead. I order from home and I have about a 5-ish minute drive to my preferred location, even though there's one that's even closer, but I just don't like this other location. I find that to be in a dangerous spot, especially like at 3 o'clock. But I was looking for the grilled cheese. It was out of stock at this other store. I usually switch locations to see who has what I'm looking for, but in this particular instance, I said, let me browse the menu a little more and see what else they have. I settled on the tomato, pesto, mozzarella sandwich thing that I have only gotten like 3 times in my life before. It's usually always out of stock. I guess it's a vegetarian's wonderland or something, because I'm telling you, it is rare that I see it available. I was going back and forth between that and the breakfast sandwich, Impossible Breakfast Sausage Sandwich. In the end, I settled for the tomato mozzarella because I said, well, let me relive this, because every time I get it, I tell myself, why don't I get this more often? Anyway, I placed the order. I drive there. The drive-through is a little full. There's like 3-4 cars ahead of me, and I had the impulse of just backing out from the line and making it into a parking spot that was behind me. But I said, I don't want to do that because people be speeding and driving crazy through lots. So I felt compelled to commit to the drive-through because it's just the safest thing to do. The building was giving me a blind spot to incoming traffic, so I just don't want to take my chances because people are crazy. I've seen a lot of road incidents. I really wish that I had like a dash cam so I could show you guys, because you have to see some of the stuff I've seen. At any rate, I make it to the speaker. I'm greeted and I say, hey, I have a mobile order for Zam. And they go, we actually don't have that tomato mozzarella sandwich. And then I'm like, oh, do you have the Impossible sandwich instead? And she takes a second to confirm that they have it, and she says yes. So ultimately I say, all right, I'm getting that. I make it to the window. I am handed my order, and then I'm dismissed. And before leaving, after she said, thank you, have a good one, I was like, so has the difference between sandwiches been refunded already? So she takes a second and she turns around and she asks her squad. The only thing I picked up was tomato mozzarella, so I guess she must have asked if it was refunded or partly refunded, whatever it was. And she gets on the register. She asks me for my code. I show it to her. She scans it. And then she hands me a receipt. She says, okay, the refund should be there. And then I'm like, okay, so do you need to scan it again so that I can buy the sandwich now? And then she said, no, it's good, it's okay. And I'm like, oh, so I guess for that mistake, I was allowed to have the item for free, which I'm grateful for. But at the same time, I wonder, what was the circumstance that triggered me getting it for free? Is it the fact that you didn't have it at all? Or is it the fact that you were getting ready to overcharge me and I pointed it out? And maybe that's the policy. Because I wasn't upset. I just inquired about, I think it's like a 75-cent difference or a dollar difference. I'm not sure. I just know that that other sandwich is inherently more expensive than the other. It's maybe like 50 cents or 75 cents, whatever it is. I just don't like to be overcharged, especially where I work at. That's one of the things that they beat into our heads. It's like, whatever you do, don't ever overcharge the customer. And I know what it's like as a customer to be overcharged. It kind of pisses me off because it is deceiving. It's a scam in a sense. I'm grateful that the item was on the house because I certainly need to get serious about A, eating better, and B, saving money. I'm just curious about the customer service, I guess, interactive procedure that they have to handle customer inquiries, because every place is different. Like Walmart, I don't remember that many stories about Walmart, honestly, but I think they did something for me just one time. And I may have made a video about it because I remember being like, for the first time ever, I feel like I'm getting good customer service from Walmart. I just know that most places just have their own thing going on. And I feel like more and more I'm seeing that places are letting you just have stuff in the house if you point out a price discrepancy. I'm not sure how I feel about that policy, because you have the honest people who don't really expect to get anything, but then you got the bullies who, like, once they figure out the system, they just want to continuously exploit it. And they go from being just a regular shopper to just being a regular who regularly has a problem with their order and product. I just want to figure that part out. I know that a lot of companies come under fire a lot for their fucked up policies and practices, but I like to call out the moves that individuals do for me, whether it's good or bad. But since I have an example of a good story, I'm like, let me just share this, because I know that customer service can be a pretty challenging job, especially the interactive aspect with customers, and it's legitimately becoming dangerous to be a service worker. I liked how my situation was handled. I genuinely thought that I was gonna get the price adjusted or void my original sandwich and then let me pay for the second one. It's on the house, so I thought, oh, better than I expected. And maybe things like that is what they shoot for. It's like, well, maybe it's their practice to do that. You made the customer happy, which is something that I understand because it's the same job that I do, just a little differently. But yeah, because every place is different, I just can't help but wonder who does what and why. All right, you guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Have you ever had an interaction gone on your favor because of price discrepancies? Share some of those with me. Tell me what was the worst one that you had and maybe the best one that you had. Because, yeah, I feel like even at the same place, they may not be consistent with their decisions. So, yeah, I'm curious. What do you guys got?